When people think of prehistoric Earth, they usually imagine dinosaurs. You know, giant lizards stomping around, screaming dramatically for absolutely no reason, probably ruining everyone's day.
And honestly? Fair enough.
Dinosaurs were awesome. But here's the weird part.
They weren't first. Not even close.
For millions of years before the first dinosaur existed, Earth was already packed with giant, terrifying creatures that looked like they were designed by someone who had way too much free time and zero supervision. We're talking dragonflies the size of birds, millipedes longer than your couch, and a giant predator that everyone thinks was a dinosaur, even though it existed long before dinosaurs showed up. But the craziest part is this. These creatures weren't wiped out by dinosaurs. They were erased by something much worse. Something so catastrophic that life on Earth almost got permanently deleted. Basically, Earth hit factory reset. And if that reset never happened, dinosaurs might never have existed at all. Which means Jurassic Park would have been a very different movie. Probably way more bugs.
And honestly? That's horrifying.
To understand this, we need to go back more than 300 million years. And back then, Earth looked absolutely nothing like it does today.
No birds. No mammals. No grass. No flowers.
No humans arguing in comment sections. Just one giant supercontinent called
Pangea.
Basically every continent was shoved together like Earth forgot how personal space works. And because of that, the climate was extreme. Some places were massive deserts. Others were giant swamps covered in bizarre forests that looked like they were modded into reality by a very confused game developer. And then there was the air. The atmosphere had way more oxygen than it does today.
Which sounds nice. Like wow, fresh air.
Relaxing. Except there was one small problem. When insects get extra oxygen, they stop respecting size limits. And that's when things got ridiculous. Imagine walking through one of these ancient forests.
It's dark. Humid.
Everything smells suspicious. And suddenly, you hear buzzing.
You look up.
And see a dragonfly the size of a bird.
Meet Meganeura.
This thing had a wingspan of around 70 centimeters.
That's not an insect anymore.
That's a bad decision with wings.
And somehow it gets worse.
Because crawling through these forests was this absolute nightmare.
Arthropleura.
This thing could grow over 2.5 meters long. That's longer than most people's entire personality. Thankfully, it probably ate plants. Which is great. Because if it ate meat, humanity would have collectively agreed to cancel evolution. But even these giant bugs weren't at the top of the food chain. Something much stranger was. And almost everyone gets it wrong. You've probably seen this thing before.
Big body. Sharp teeth.
Looks angry for no reason. Huge sail sticking out of its back like nature accidentally enabled creative mode. Most people look at it and immediately say,
"Oh cool, a dinosaur." Nope. That's Dimetrodon.
And it lived millions of years before dinosaurs even existed. Which is already weird enough. But here's the part that feels illegal. It's actually more closely related to mammals than it is to dinosaurs. Which means this terrifying monster is technically closer to you than it is to a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That giant prehistoric death lizard is basically an extremely aggressive distant cousin. Family reunions must have been rough. Scientists think its huge sail helped regulate body temperature. Basically prehistoric solar panels. Charge up in the morning, cool off later.
Very efficient.
Very terrifying. And for millions of years, creatures like Dimetrodon ruled Earth. It probably felt like nothing could ever replace them. Then Earth itself decided otherwise. And what happened next makes the dinosaur extinction look mild. Seriously. The asteroid was bad.
This was worse.
About 252 million years ago, Earth experienced the single worst extinction event in its entire history.
Permian, Triassic extinction event.
Scientists call it the Great Dying. Which is honestly a very strong clue that things did not go well. Around 90% of all species disappeared.
90%.
That's not an extinction event. That's Earth rage quitting. The leading theory is massive volcanic eruptions in Siberia. And not cute little volcanoes either. We're talking eruptions so enormous they pumped insane amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere for hundreds of thousands of years.
Earth heated up.
Oceans became acidic.
Oxygen dropped.
Life started collapsing everywhere. Imagine the entire planet slowly becoming unlivable. Generation after generation. No dramatic asteroid impact. No Michael Bay explosion. Just the slow realization that everything is getting worse and not stopping. Almost nothing survived.
And for a moment,
Earth was nearly empty. Life had basically 1 HP left.
but somehow, it held on.
And what came next changed everything. After the Great Dying, Earth was basically an abandoned construction site. Everything was broken. Everything was empty. Nature had to start over. And that's when a new group of reptiles started evolving.
Small at first. Fast. Adaptable.
Quietly improving while everything else was still recovering. And eventually, dinosaurs arrived. Here's what most people get wrong. Dinosaurs didn't conquer some thriving world. They inherited the leftovers. They rose because the old rulers were gone.
They got lucky.
Like showing up to a group project after everyone else already failed. And if that earlier extinction never happened, dinosaurs might have stayed irrelevant.
No T-Rex. No Triceratops.
No Jurassic Park. Just giant bugs and your weird cousin Dimetrodon still running things.
Honestly?
Not sure that's better. Dinosaurs became legends because they ruled Earth for millions of years. But they weren't the beginning. They were what came after Earth's first apocalypse. Before them was a stranger world. A forgotten age of giant insects, bizarre predators, and evolutionary experiments so weird they sound made up. And maybe the strangest part is this. One day, millions of years from now, another species might look back at us the exact same way. Hopefully with less giant millipedes. Because once was already too much. If this changed the way you see Earth's history, subscribe.
Because trust me,
this planet only gets weirder from here.